Hello and welcome to my first video tutorial for the Guts editor for Torchlight II. In this video we're going to be taking a general look at the layout of the editor itself in a fairly brief fashion, so let's go ahead and open up the program now. The first screen you're going to see is this mod selection screen. Now when you have some mods, they'll show up in this drop down box. Right now we don't, so there's nothing in there. So we're going to go ahead and hit the new button and create a new mod. It'll ask us for a name, and I'm just going to call this test mod. So I'll type in test mod and hit OK. You'll see that it creates a directory for us in the mods folder for the mod that we just made, and go ahead and hit OK, and Guts will load up. Okay, so now that we're in the editor itself, this probably looks pretty familiar to most people who have used, well, a lot of software has a layout like this. If you used the Torch Ed editor, it's almost exactly the same thing with more bells and whistles. So, first of all, you have your file menu and your toolbar menu for some quick access functions, and we'll be looking at both of these in more detail later. What I want to talk about in this video is the layout window, the workspace window, and the properties window. Within the two side windows, there are also multiple tabs. So, we'll start off with the layout window in the layout tab. This window is going to hold all of your assets, your objects, your monsters, your walls and your floors and your bushes. Everything's going to be in here. You can organize it within groups, within folders, and you can create a new layout, save it, open other layouts, and we'll take a look at some of this other stuff in a later video. The UI tab, as you can see, it changes the workspace. This is where you're going to be editing the UI. Similar to the layout tab, as well, the particle tab is also similar to the layout tab. This is where you'll be editing your particles, like your fire particles and things like that. And then there's the scratch pad, which I haven't messed around with it yet, but from what I understand, it's essentially a layout inside of a layout, so you'll be able to work on a layout inside of your main layout for your dungeon or whatever you're working on. Okay, over to the properties window. When you click on an asset over here, it's going to load up your properties window with all of that object's properties. Things like its X and Y value or its scale. You'll be able to edit those like a text editor sort of thing. It looks a lot like this. This is actually the options tab though, and these options are for the editor itself. There's a lot of useful stuff in here for testing out your mod. You can set things like the rule set, lighting. You can set up your character here, so you can make him have God mode, and you can turn monster spawns on and off. And so there's a lot of really useful stuff in here. We'll be looking at this later as well. And finally, the mods tab, which is actually where all of your information for your mod is. You can put in your name for the author, the description, if you have a website, the version of the mod. This is also where you're going to be publishing your mod to either to Steam, or if you're just building it to test it. And we'll be looking at some of this other stuff in more detail later as well. The other thing is you can switch your mods within the editor right here. Okay, so the last thing I want to look at in this video is the workspace and how to navigate it. So it's a lot like a computer game. You're going to be using the WASD keys to move around, to move forwards, backwards, left, and right. And you're going to hold down the right mouse button and rotate the mouse to rotate the camera. You can use this together with the keys and the mouse to get sweeping motions. And to move up and down, you are going to use your Q and E key on the keyboard. The Q key will move you down, and the E key will move you back up. So that's how you navigate. And finally, if you want to center the camera, all you have to do is press the R button on your keyboard, and that will recenter you. That's it for this video. In the next video, we'll be looking a little bit closer at the layout window and the workspace window, as well as adding some objects to our workspace and manipulating. Thanks.